am back with day 1 of December Daily. If you had watched some of my previous videos, I did some of my prep pages or my pre-pages from the day that we put up our Christmas tree and a couple other photos and a calendar and things like that. So if you'd like to check out those videos, make sure you look at the December Daily 2017 playlist and you can find those videos there. Today, I'm actually starting with day 1 finally. I have a picture of my daughter with her advent calendar. Me and my husband had a date night, so we went to this restaurant, and then my daughter had a sleepover, and that's why we got to go on a date night. So I'm going to be using some of the papers from the Ellie Edwards kit from 2017. I think these are both from the Jasmine Jones, I believe, collections. So they're kind of a pink, kind of a non-traditional colors, but I thought the pink in this kind of went well with the pink in these papers, so that's what I'm going to be doing. For this side, it's just going to be 2 4x6s, and then this side, it's going to be one where you have the 2 4x4s and then this strip. So I'm going to end up using this strip to put the journaling. These are not my favorite page protectors, but I think it works well with this journaling, and then that's just how I'm going to utilize it. So I am going to back this journaling. I cut it a little bit smaller than the strip here. And so I'm going to back it with a piece of cardstock just to kind of mimic the pinky peachish color that's in the papers. So I'm going to get started here and I'm going to start embellishing and cutting the papers and things like that. So let me cut these down 4x6 and a 4x4 and I'll be right back. All right, so I am back with everything cut out, and I apologize for all the shadows and things in the video. It is dark here. I wasn't able to film earlier today, and I have like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 lights plus the overhead light on, and it still seems to have lots of shadows and stuff like that. I'm hoping I put some studio lights on my Christmas list. I'm hoping that I might get them. I'm not sure. If not, I think I just need to invest in some because the shadows just drive me crazy. Hopefully they're not bothering you guys too much, so I apologize for that. But hopefully you guys can bear with me and hang in there with those shadows showing. So I think I'm just gonna glue this down right now because that's nice simple, and I don't think I said this earlier, but I just decided to trim this out as well while I was trimming out the other pieces. And this is just a piece of cardstock from my stash. It doesn't match exactly, but it was close enough that I thought it would work in the page. So it looks very similar to that peachy color, kind of peachy pink color there. So I thought I would just go with that. It worked well enough for what I was looking for. And so I'm just gonna mount this down, nothing too fancy, just getting it on here so it wasn't just plain white. I was kind of bored by just having it white when I was looking at it earlier. So I thought I could just beef it up just a bit by adding some color. So I'm just gonna add that down there. It wasn't exactly straight, but that's okay. I'm gonna move on. So I need a number 1 for this layout, and I have a couple options. I didn't pull them out yet, so I'll have to dig through here in a second. But I can do a number 1 like in a cork number 1, which I think is gonna be a little bit too dark for this page unless I put it on there. Let me see if I can find, here's a number 1. So I have this option of a number 1. I have some of these charms, and again, I'll have to, let's see, not those, sorry. I have these brads, and then I'll have to dig through those. This is a number that I can use that. I have these numbers, which I don't think are gonna work because I don't like the red. It kind of clashes with the pink a little too much. I mean, I have some red, but it's just, that's not gonna work for me. So I'm not gonna do that today. What's another option? I have these white stickers, which might actually work perfect. Maybe I can get like a chipboard circle or something over there. We'll see about that. So I have that option. And then I have this book here, and there is lots of pinks in here. I wonder if there is some bigger numbers. So there are these. Let's see what the number 1, of course it's green. The green kind of goes with like the salsa bowl and maybe a little bit of that, but I think it's going to stand out a little too much. I could steal a 1 from one of the other numbers. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that blue color. Let's see, what are my other options? Could take a pink 1, but that's a lot of pink. I don't know if I like all that pink. Darker green might not be so bad. I don't know, that's kind of dark. I'll have to figure that out. So I may come back here in a second and see what one will end up working the best. I'll be right back. All right, I am back, and I have decided I'm actually gonna end up using the cork number instead, but to get it so that it doesn't blend in so much, especially with my brown table, and I really do wanna use it on this card. I could use it here too, but I think I want it over here, and to get it to not blend in so much, I am going to actually put it here with this snowflake. So I think I'm going to do something along those lines where the snowflake kind of goes off the page, but it's going to sit, the one's going to kind of sit on the number right there, on the vellum right there. So I think that's what I'm going to do for that. And then this card, I don't really have anything here because I did all my journaling on this strip. So I thought I could use this wood veneer piece. And I have a couple different options. I can use the holly or merry and bright. I think I'm going to keep holiday love there though, because this is a story about my daughter's advent calendar and kind of how I had an advent calendar like this when I was a kid and that type of thing. So I think I'm going to keep this here. The rest of the story is a little bit about my daughter's friend's birthday party. And that's kind of why this is, this is why this is covered up, is there's two other little girls here that I don't really have permission to show them on video. So I'm keeping that off, but I think it will be okay because we're going to be focusing here. So I'm also going to take another one of the vellum snowflakes, and I did emboss these on some of like cardstock vellum that I got from Stampin' Up. And I'm just going to put that on this piece here, and I think I'm just going to keep this one like this. I may do some stitching around the edges. I haven't decided on that. So now I'm going to work on this card over here, and I think I have a couple different photos, 3 I think, of this. So what I want to do is I'm going to make a little photo flip book and put some of the photos on the outside of the page protector and some on the inside. So you'll see that at the very end how I make that. But I need something over here in this area. I was going to use these other long photos, which I guess I could still do, but I'm going to use something to mimic these diamonds. In the Ellie Edwards kit, it also came with these diamond shapes. So they're kind of like a clear, I don't know if you can see through them or not on camera. It's a little dark up there, but they're a little bit clear, so you can kind of see through things just ever so slightly. It probably doesn't pick up well on camera. So what I was going to do is I was going to stack these kind of on this left-hand side and kind of use the colors that are throughout the rest of the photos. So I'm kind of trying to decide how I want that to look. I want to make sure that they fit pretty nicely and maybe come off the edge just ever so slightly, but mostly be on the page. And then I have this cheer that I die cut, and it was actually stamped in a green color, but when I put the embossing powder, it actually stuck to the green ink, so I just went with it, and it does match some of the colors that are in here. So you see a little bit of a green tinge with it, but I like how this fits kind of right here. That H kind of tucks up by the star, and the E fits there real nicely up underneath it. So I like how that looks, and like I said, I'm going to make some kind of a little booklet with these photos here so you can flip through each of the pages. So I think this is basically how it's going to look. I'm not going to do a whole lot more. I do really think I am going to do some stitching, maybe stitch on some of these die cut pieces because they are, like I said, see-through, so I don't really have a good way of adhering them. I could use a stapler, but I thought I'd do something a little bit different by stitching through them. Maybe like this. I think that would work best because it does have the words, so maybe underneath or above. I'm not quite sure yet, so I'll do that here in a little bit. In the meantime, I'm just going to end up gluing this on. It is vellum, but I think because it is that cardstock vellum and I have a lot of that embossing on the back, the liquid glue is going to work just fine for that. So I'm just going to put a couple dabs in a couple places and just not go crazy with the glue. And I think that will work just fine without really seeing through it too much. And if it shows through a little bit, I'm not really overly worried about that. I just want to get it so it doesn't fall off the page. So I think that's enough. And I'm just going to kind of place this in the middle-ish. There. Yeah, you can't really see the glue at all. So on the back of this wood veneer, I'm just going to use my ATG gun. That should hold it on pretty well. It's a nice flat piece. So I'm going to try to eyeball this and get it in the middle as much as possible. I think that's pretty good. And I'm going to stick that down. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to glue this one down first because I know how I want this to look. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this and stick that over here, and then I will make sure the snowflake gets in the right spot on the card. So same thing, I'm just going to put a little adhesive on the back. Just a few pieces, and since you have this one on the back, you really can't see the adhesive, so I'll pretty much use that portion mostly to put the adhesive. And a little of this is going to hang off the edge, so I don't want to do too much. So I'm gonna stick this on just like this. Again, sorry for the shadows, guys. I really wish this wasn't so shadowy. And then what I'll do is I will wait a little bit, let that dry just a bit, just so I don't smush it and it moves. And then I'm gonna figure out what I wanna do over here. I think I'm gonna adhere these first and then stitch them down. I just gotta figure out, this one I think would adhere down fine with adhesive, the liquid adhesive. And these have a little bit of a coating on the back of them. Getting it off is a whole nother story. Hopefully I can get it off here. All right, well, instead of you guys watching me try to get this off, I will work on that, get this off, figure out how to stitch these down, and I'll be right back and I can show you what it looks like stitched down. All right, I am back, and I had a bit of a disaster with my sewing machine. It looks okay, but oh my goodness, it was crazy back here. I had, all of it got bunched up and it was crazy. I think because my bobbin was just about out of thread, so it went a little wacky. So it's not the best sewing job I've ever done, but it turned out okay. And then I ended up sewing all the way around the edge of this card as well. So I thought that tied in nicely. And I think what I'm going to do on this number 1, it looks a little sad and lonely there. I think I'm going to put a staple through the middle of it just to give it a little bit of something. So I'm going to add that to that one. I just kind of like that texture that it gives. So now I need to add this little guy right here. I am just going to use, I think I'm going to use my liquid glue for that. So I will just add a little bit to the background. I don't need a whole lot. This should stick pretty well. So let me just stick that down. Fit kind of snugly right there. Oh, and I have to tell you guys, I don't know if, I think I was talking about the liquid adhesive and I didn't think it was going to show through. I can't quite remember if I was saying that on camera or I was thinking to myself, but you actually do see it through. So what I ended up doing is once I get it sewed down, if I pop that off where I had that adhesive, then you can't see it anymore. So that's my little trick for not seeing the adhesive. Maybe this one's not going to come up. But I can get these other ones. These other ones popped up pretty easily. And this one was the same way. I got this one popped up and you really can't even see it now where that adhesive was. So I don't think this one's gonna play nice. It looks like it's pulling the paper up, but that's okay. Most of it looks okay. I'm just gonna trim off the extra here. I think I like that. And now I just need to figure out how I'm gonna do this little booklet. And I actually have these stars too. I was thinking about possibly adding them, I don't know, around the page here and there. So now I'm just going to figure out about this little book. I think I'm just going to use some white cardstocks to mimic like the mat here on these pictures. I think I'm going to do that instead of using up some of my pattern paper. So let me pull some of that white cardstock out here. I think I have some scraps. Show you because obviously this is going to be in the page protector and it's going to be hard. Normally you can use like one of those flip flaps, but I didn't want the edge of the glue showing, so I'm going to do something a little bit different and I'm going to actually cut the page protector and I'll show you what I'm going to do here in a second. And I haven't done that in a while, but it works. So I think this is going to be a little bit bigger than I want. So what I'm going to do is carefully, I think I'll use this, carefully trim this down just a bit because it's a little bit too much of a border on here. Yeah, I like that better. Just a smidge on this side. Not too much over here. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. All right. And then what I will do is I'll put the other photo here and the other photo there. So I'll be back in just a second. Like I said, I have photos of the other girls on here and I'm just going to actually, yeah, I'll be back in just a second. All right, I am back and I made a little booklet. I'm gonna glue this down right here so you can open it up. I feel like it needs a little bit of something still, but maybe I'll just keep it simple instead of going too much crazier. I already have a lot of sewing and other things going on. I'm just gonna glue this in place, and I'll show you how this is gonna fit in the page protector here in a second. I am gonna put quite a bit of adhesive on this since it is gonna be an element that can be moved around, and I don't want it to get accidentally torn off the page. So I'm going to put a decent amount of adhesive on it. All right, so that's that. So let me grab that page protector out and show you guys what I'm gonna do. So I've done this before, but it's been a really long time, and it turned out pretty cute. I haven't done it on probably pocket pages before, but I have done it in my traditional scrapbooking. So what I do is I will put this in the pocket, and then I'll just take my X-Acto knife and very, very carefully I will score or cut all the way around this edge. And then that way, when you open it, the plastic is still there so it protects the photo, but you can actually open the book. So I'm going to take my Tim Holtz ruler, and this is a metal edge, so you can use this ruler because it has this metal edge, or you can use another metal ruler for this, but I do recommend a metal ruler when you're using the X-Acto knife. Let me just move these out of the way. And I say that because the plastic rulers will get cut by the X-Acto knife, and that's not what you want. So I'm going to just cut on these 3 sides. And like I said, I'm just going to very, very gently score because I don't want to cut the paper beneath. And I'll just go over it a few times until I feel like I've cut through the plastic. And then I can always go back over it again. I'd rather cut a couple times than cut too much the first time. And it's better if you can put like a little circle punch right here and here, and then that way there's less chance of the whole page protector ripping, but I don't have a way to get that hole punch in there, I don't think. So that is mostly cut, I think. So this one's cut almost all the way through. I need to score this one a couple more times. I'm getting there. Like I said, I'd rather go slowly and cut a couple times than too much the first time. So I'm going to take that out of there, and I think that will help me kind of see the line. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's going to be very hard for you guys to see that probably, but I can see a line where I've scored already. And so I'm just carefully, carefully, carefully using my X-Acto knife to cut through. See, perfect. That worked just like I was hoping it would. So you can just kind of open it like that, and then what you can do too is, this needs to be trimmed down just a bit more. What you can do is you can kind of fold the plastic back a bit, and then that way it kind of has a little bit of a crease in it. But there. So when sitting in the album, it should sit pretty close pretty nicely. So that's perfect. So hopefully you guys can see that. So I just added this little flap here. It's very hard to see in the film, I think. And then my book opens, and it's in the page protector, so it stays nice and protected. And then I think I'm pretty much done. Just need to slip all this in the pockets. Hopefully there's not going to be too much of a glare so you guys can see this. So that's this pocket. And then let me bring over the other page protector. This slips in here, and sometimes this is such a pain in the butt. I have to like staple it in here so it doesn't fall out. Let me see if it might need to trim it down just a smidge. Let me trim it down just a little bit on each end. There we go. This goes in here. This goes in here. And that is day 1 finally done. So that's what it turned out looking like. So you can see here, I added the diamonds, like I said, the wood veneer, and then the journaling. So this worked out perfect. It's a little bit of an intricate page just because of the little booklet, but really didn't take me much more time to do. So I really like how this turned out. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything I did today, make sure you leave those in the comments below. If you have anything you just want to talk about, you can leave those in the comments below as well. And if you haven't already, make sure you check out my other December Daily 2017 videos. There is a playlist. And if you haven't also subscribed, make sure you do that. And you can click on the little bell next to the subscribe button, and that will notify you of new videos that have been posted. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys or talk to you guys again soon. Bye.